Hello there, Francine. Your grandmother mentioned you would be dropping by.
Yes, Dr. Hobson. She told me that you could explain our terrible nightmare.
Probably not all of it, but let me try to answer a few questions for you.
Okay, then. Why was the future of Idaho education a graveyard?
I think you know the answer to that one yourself.
Right. Because it was Idaho. Because it was after Mr. Luna's plan to replace teachers with laptops was chosen.
Yes.
But why did it kill people's hopes and destroy their ability to think? That graveyard of thinking creeped me right out. It spooked my grandma, too.
I don't doubt that it did. And I can see why she would have thought of me. You see, a few years ago I wrote a book called The Cradle of Thought. In it I explored the development of thought from babyhood onward. I came up with some ideas that your Mr. Luna has probably not considered.
Wow. So babies think.
They begin to develop ideas, yes. Mental representations.
How do they get them?
From engagement with other people. An infant's relationship with her mother is intense. It is highly emotional. Babies are born ready to perceive and react to what they see in the behavior and expressions of people.
Okay.
They coordinate their actions with those of the people tending them and become emotionally attached to them. That interaction allows a baby, or anyone, really, to tell the difference between people and things.
Okay.
That emotional differentiation between people and things, and between one person and another is the basis of human thought. And babies respond to the feelings of the people they are emotionally attached to.
Of course they do.
Francine, many people do not understand that emotional engagement with other people is the basis of human thought.
So if a baby did not have an emotional attachment to a person, and if she never interacted with people, she might not learn to think.
That's right.
Ouch. But how can that stuff tell us what happened to Idaho people's ability to think? School-aged kids aren't babies, and Mr. Luna was waiting until students were in 9th grade before they got their laptops.
I know. I don't actually think the laptops did it. I think it was probably the absence of teachers. And the use of the Idaho Standard Test of Achievement to measure how well the teachers performed.
You mean the students?
Wasn't he going to hand out merit pay to teachers based on the ISAT scores of their students?
Sure.
So teachers were not rewarded for teaching critical thinking to the young people in their charge.
I suppose not. It is all about test scores, Dr. Hobson. It has nothing to do with how well we can think.
That's a pity. And that is what happened to the thinking ability of future Idahoans. When the teachers were dispensed with because they were too expensive, the students lost that human connection.
So it is not just for babies.
Oh no. We know that the most important element in thought development is that live, responsive teacher. And the next important, at least when we are talking about schools, is class size. Students who feel respected and valued by their teachers develop an emotional attachment to them.
So between the use of the ISAT as a measure of student achievement and teacher performance, and the substitution of laptops for teachers, the ability of Idahoans to ponder the questions that have intrigued humanity forever was destroyed.
That pretty well sums it up, Francine. But, you know, it was only a terrible nightmare. It will not necessarily come to that.
Why won't it? Graham went to the JFAC meeting and so did 500 other people. Out of 90 people who testified, there were only about 10 who thought Luna's plan was a good idea, and half of them were paid lobbyists.
That ought to make you feel good.
It does. I know that people here are not stupid enough to approve of his plan. But when Channel 7 reported on the JFAC meeting,
yes,
they showed 2 people speaking against it, and 2 people speaking for it. That might seem balanced, but it did not show how many parents and grandparents and business people and teachers there were who objected to Luna's plan. It made it appear as though opinions were evenly divided, when they clearly were not.
That is where your education, your ability to think clearly and your interpersonal skills come in. You and other young people will need to express yourselves. If you object to the kind of news coverage the issue is getting, then say so. Write to Channel 7 and tell them. Read the newspapers, too. Speak up when the Press Tribune or the Statesman covers this process inadequately or features opinion pieces with which you disagree.
This isn't going to be easy then.
It sounds as though it will be a lengthy process. But remember, Francine, the mind is a terrible thing to waste. There are thousands of young minds in Idaho. Isn't it worth as much energy as you can possibly devote to keep their thinking ability alive?
And out of that graveyard that Graham and I dreamed of. You bet. I'm sharpening my pencil and sitting down at the keyboard. To sin by silence when we should protest makes cowards of us all. I'm not a coward and neither are my friends. We know that Mr. Luna's plan will destroy our schools. We cannot allow that.